Welcome to This Is All Your Life. That's sarcastic. Meaning it's all your fucking life. Who gives a shit? No big deal. Overcoming the bullshit to open your heart and mind with Janice Corsano and Holly Corsano. In this episode, to self-love yourself enough to know that you don't need to take everyone's crap and it's okay. And for the sake of love, if you love yourself enough, then you wouldn't be, and we wouldn't be actually bringing that into our lives to the same degree. But we do bring it in because we're trying to overcome, like, what is acceptable treatment, because we treat ourselves so badly. So It's showing up.
It's very true.
You know, it's showing up to say, like, all right, how are you treating yourself? What are you doing to yourself? Once we expect it to happen, then that's what's always going to happen. And that's similar in relationships. If we think that we suck in them or that no one's going to love us because there's something wrong with us, guess what is going to happen?
Right.
And we will make it happen.
I'm going to read you my thoughts and feelings
from
May 21st.
Good. They should be all over the map.
So after doing entity removal, because remember I had
a thing. You did. You had
I had a thing that was on me and bothered me. I was feeling less anxious, feeling more balanced in my body, feeling less pain. Thoughts are positive.
That's the thing about entities, real quick before you.
Yep.
Like, people do not realize these lower energies that are trying to keep us in this place and buying this bullshit. And you say what yours was making you feel like before.
Oh, God. There's a couple things that happen. One is the physical thing that happens is it feels like my shoulders are being, like, pulled forward and weighed down. And I don't know what it is. It's the strangest thing. And I'll sit up straight and my body will be up straight, but it feels like there's an actual weight pressing into my body down.
And that's the one that you experience mostly. Because other people experience, like, one of the other people's experience, it feels like there's a lot of pressure on their throat.
I also get that too. So That's one of the other things that is happening, is it was feeling like something was pressing on my throat, and I was noticing I was having a hard time communicating also, which makes sense, throat chakra. But and it felt like it felt like a person had their hand on my throat and was, like, pressing gently and, like, slightly restricting, but there was nothing there. So there was that. And then emotionally, I don't remember so much now, because when I was talking about how it made me feel, I was in the feeling of the entity, so I don't have that much memory of it. What do you remember?
That's what's different about when they get removed. Like, you remember what the physical feeling was like, but the emotional feeling, because they just made you more extreme in whatever you're feeling. So you were feeling tired, you were feeling like, this is too hard.
Fatigue.
What am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I doing this? Do I even know what I'm doing? Like, all the things that you have were just magnified to a bigger...
Lots of fatigue.
Emotionally, they were just magnified. Like, everything just seemed bigger and made you feel more intense about it. Like, the fear of whatever about getting there on time was more intense.
Right.
The fear of being, whatever the fear is about not being able to do the job right was higher.
Right. I had a job recently that I didn't really know what I was doing, and it worked. It turned out really, really well.
Good thing we removed the entity.
Yeah.
Because that would have just been a bigger, like, fear.
Right. Well, you know what?
And you are usually pretty good with those, because those jobs, you're like, for whatever reason, those you give yourself a pass on.
The jobs I have no idea what I'm doing with.
Yes, you give yourself a pass on.
Well, I mean, I don't know what I'm doing. Of course I...
I know, but most people wouldn't take the job.
Oh yeah, I take the job like a weirdo. Oh, you want me to do this thing that I don't know how to do, and and it's gonna go on TV? Yeah, yes, I would definitely want to take that job.
But most people wouldn't take the job, is what I'm saying.
CNN is here because when this is released, it's gonna be that big that they're coming to look at what we're doing. Oh, good thing I didn't know that.
But that's what I mean. It's those are important pieces that it's a good thing you didn't know, because then you might think, well, shit, I shouldn't take this job because what if I screw it up? But you don't do that for that part.
Nope.
You go, all right, well, I got an idea.
You just have to say yes.
Yeah.
You just have to say yes.
But do you see what I mean? Like, the difference?
Yeah. You can't be scared.
Right.
You can't be scared. If I said no, what would happen? Nothing.
Yeah.
Actually, nothing. Which is way worse than doing a bad job.
Yes.
If you do a bad job, at least you made friends, you got connections, you were on a cool movie set, had experience, did the thing.
Well, hopefully, if you're doing a bad job, you start to learn how to do a better job because you're learning.
Right. The only downside is that they don't want to hire you again.
Right, which is the point of, if you have confidence, which you do,
Right.
in what you do,
Right.
and that you figure it out usually.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
And if
Because
I can't figure it out and I don't know, I call someone.
Right. I was
and
going to say,
find out.
The difference is that you have an idea of, if you don't know, you have people that you can call, and if you feel like you're having, like it's something that is way over your head, you don't take it because it's something that you feel like is...
If it's beyond my ability, like if I couldn't body cast somebody and like build a thing, like I just...
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
if it's something that you feel is...
Yeah.
You know, but there's a lot of things that you feel like you have an idea that you really don't
Right.
do.
Yeah, and you can't be scared.
But do you see what I mean? So what if you weren't scared of most of these things? What if we weren't scared of money at all? What if we weren't scared of love? What if we weren't... Because love is always the answer.
Right.
If we weren't afraid of all those things because of the pain that it's going to cause us, that we create the pain, meaning that it has to be painful.
Right. Well, so how do we apply the not being scared and just saying yes thing to time and not feeling rushed and not feeling like you didn't wake up early enough and not feeling like this is how I would like my day. I would like to wake up at whatever time makes me feel like I've rested enough. I would then like to accomplish all of the things that I put on my to-do list, assuming that the to-do list is of normal, reasonable, you know what I mean? Like, you can't, like, write, like, I would like to write a novel today. Like, that maybe...
Well, you can. You can do that. Because some people can write a novel in a day.
Oh, well, me, as a dyslexic person, that would not be on a day list for a to-do. So,
See, you just limited yourself again.
Right. Well, see, but that's what I'm saying, though. So this is, like, all my little roadblocks of the things that I can't do. Like, I'm a short person. I can't reach the top shelf a lot of times.
Well, without a stool.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
You can reach the top shelf.
Right. So you gotta do some finagling, and you gotta build a little bit to get to the thing. But so what do we use to build to get to the top shelf of our hopes and dreams?
So you tell me, because you just did it with the job. So now it's 5:55 on our clock.
Ooh.
You tell me, because you just did it with your job.
What did I do? I talked to the people on the job, found out what needed to be done. I took a job. I took a job that I actively knew that I had never done that type of wig before, and that I was going to have to figure it out. And
okay, so why weren't you afraid?
Because it's hair and no one dies.
Okay. So why is it when you start your day, it feels like somebody's going to die? Because where'd you put that one in that category? Because when you wake up at 9:30, no one's going to die. Like, if you use the same analogy, what's the difference? Because that's not the feeling.
Right. No, that's why I'm having a hard time, because it's like, okay, so this was the day. I woke up, went into New York, purchased a very nice wig that I would not have money to rebuy if I messed it up on my card. Also, spent $500, didn't think that was weird on the wig. Okay. Then
222 on the call.
Ooh. Then
just saying, I just happened to look up and I was like, oh.
Then I bring it to the job, do the wig fitting on the person. I had never had to fit a wig of this kind. The person's definitely a celebrity. We're having playtime. I'm experimenting. I'm learning on her head. She doesn't know this. And
she probably wouldn't care.
No, she didn't care. She's great. She's really cool.
The feeling of the person.
She's very cool. She's a very, very cool person. So,
actually, she was pretty impressed.
She was, yeah. I like her a lot, and we're friends now, and she's a really good lady. But so we do a thing. I talk to the director, show him, tell him, I don't particularly think that this is the best it can be, because I agree. And he was like, yeah, I think we should, you know, try to slick it down here a little more. And what I ended up doing was I took out her natural hairline, painted it black with mascara and like this hair powder stuff, cut the wig in a way that the lace was like removed off of the front so the hairline blended in with her own, attached it to her right behind her hairline, and then made her blonde hair black like the wig and slicked it in so that way I could, because the problem that we were having was it had to be like a very flat, slicked back thing on a lady that was blonde, and it had to be black, and it needed to have a natural hairline. So how are you going to slick back a thing that's attached to you? It's going to keep flying back.
Right.
And I can't safety pin it to her head. I can't staple it. Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, wig tape can only hold so much.
We could staple it to your head. Is
right.
that okay?
Yeah. we're gonna suture this down for the next like 5 hours. No. So it worked out really, really well.
But do you see how all of that, which is way bigger than getting up at 9:30.
Way bigger than me adding up the money that people paid me and like doing my small little like tax thing and writing down on my little ledger the thing, you know what I mean? Like
way bigger. So
I'm in my own.
Me.
I don't know. I'm in my own office with no one, all stressed out, alone. Like I'm writing too many things down. Why did I wait so long? And I'm all stressed out way more than I was about working with the celebrity lady, not knowing anything about this $500 wig that I'm slapping on her head with the director like looking at me like.
Now you tell me why, because there you go. Because yes you do.
Because I'm crazy.
No, because that makes sense now to everybody to be like, okay, hold on, I do that with everything, right? Something that I would think would be
a little more intense.
A little more intense and scary.
Yeah.
I'm fine with.
Yeah.
Writing numbers down and adding them up, getting up at 9:30 and
being stressed out that I don't have enough time at 9:30. I didn't wake up at 2 p.m.
Right. That makes you crazy.
Right.
Because of what? Why didn't the other one scare you? Why does that one bother you so much? Because the fear is you're not going to be able to get it done. And there's also a thought that's going on in your head that it takes you a long time to do this. You hate it. You don't want to do it. Do you see what I mean? Why I said you got to change those thoughts about your stomach?
Right.
Because if you're saying, you didn't say that about the other thing. You didn't say, I hate this. You're more excited about figuring it out.
Right.
There's an excitement.
Because that's playtime.
Yes. Why isn't this playtime?
Because I don't like it.
Why isn't this playtime? See the difference?
Right.
So if we changed it to this is playtime too, I'm adding up numbers and I'm playing with numbers, just like it's creative, right? So I'm putting numbers in, I'm adding them up, and it's playtime.
Right. Like once I get in the flow of it, I like don't mind it. It's just I have to like talk myself. I have to do weird things to like pacify myself to sit. Like I have to like light the candle, and I have to burn the sage, and I have to fold some laundry, and I have to like mentally like start organizing things and like prepare myself to sit down at the desk.
But do you see the difference?
Yeah.
You said that was creative. Everything's creative is fun.
Yeah.
And that you're going to have fun figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you weren't afraid of it.
Right.
That is not what you say about doing numbers.
Right.
You didn't look forward to it. You hate it.
Right.
You look forward and have fun doing creative stuff.
Right.
Hence your job.
Right. Because
which is why you're really good at it.
Yay.
Because you're very creative and you figure it out. And you know that you do. For whatever reason, you put this in the category of, I can't do it, it's hard for me, and I hate it.
Right.
Whatever we do that we hate, we tend to make it harder. Because I watched you make it harder. I'm like, oh my God, I've never seen anybody make adding some numbers so difficult in my life.
Right.
And be so painful. I was like, wow, it's just some numbers. But because it doesn't, I don't have the same thing on it. But I might be more nervous about going and doing somebody's hair that I'm going to slap their wig on that I have no idea doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's not what I think is fun.
Right.
If I thought that was fun,
right.
I might think that's fun, but meaning I might not be nervous about it. But I'm just saying, as a general sense.
It's such a weird, like it's so backwards, and I actively know that it's backwards.
Right, but you just gave the answer.
Right.
The answer was, what are you...
it's not fun.
Right. What are you thinking? and what do you think about it, and what's the energy you put behind it, because you have to make that be the truth.
Right.
Even though it's not true.
Right.
Remember, fear, false evidence appearing real, means we have to make it feel real. Then we have to be able to prove that it's real.
Right.
And you do that every single time you go to do it, instead of proving something else.
Right.
So it's with everything that we do. So it's with abundance, it's with money, it's with heart, it's with everything that we've learned, which is all half-assed backwards. The same with relationships, the same with money.
Right, because if people think relationships are hard and not fun and it's work, then...
And relationships are work, but they don't have to be hard, like hard. Like
yeah.
There's a work. I had to change, like I give people homework, and there's a bad connotation to homework. Like you got to go home and do this, like it's work. So I changed it to like fun work. And I just changed it to like, all right, I need you to go home and do something fun. I go, what's more fun than being a detective of yourself and figure out how you work, and so that they could get, because people wouldn't do their homework, and I just used the term because it's you go home and you do it.
Right.
And then I started to realize, I'm like, wait a minute, this was years ago. It's like, wait a minute, home and work, they don't want work, and they don't want to do it at home.
Yeah.
Hold on, that's not what I want you to do. This is for your life and about you figuring out. And being a detective of how you work, so you could see, so you could do something different, that's fun. What is more exciting than figuring out how you work and how you're keeping yourself stuck?
Right.
And apparently I seem to think that that's more fun than other people. Because some people are like, I don't really fucking care, I don't want to know. I'm like, well, yeah, you do. Because it's actually the thing that's making it so you can't do this, or keeping you stuck here, or making it so that you repeat the same thing over and over.
So what's the best way to do? Because as much as...
You start to transpose. It's like, so if you take that energy of the job and you put it on the energy of doing the paperwork. So you start to do it as if, okay, if I'm going to do that wig job, and since you just did it, and you know what that felt like, you could use that same energy and put it on the paperwork. So then the way that you would set it up would be like, okay, what's the feeling? The paperwork is now going to be the same feeling to me as like I'm going to pretend that I'm going to do a wig.
Right.
I'm going to do a job that I don't really know how to do, but I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to be creative and do it. You use that same energy. You put that same feeling.
Oh my God, I just had a thought. This is, okay, when you're going, so I like to pull things out of my ass and make things up as I go when it comes to like hair.
Huh?
I feel like I don't have that same freedom when it comes to taxes. So that's why, because there's like there's less wiggle room for.
Well, you kind of are pulling them. Meaning you're not pulling them out of your ass. You're pulling them out of places where you put them.
I know. Yeah. No, I know. But it's.
And it's the same thing, though. It's the same thing with the hair. Because you put something somewhere that you took that piece from to put it together, right? So, I mean, like, if you didn't know how to do it, somewhere inside your brain, there's a connection that you have to something higher or something that you had an experience with, whether it be this life or another life.
Right.
So you're pulling it from somewhere. Like you said, you think you're pulling it out of your ass, but you're not. You're pulling it from somewhere.
Right.
It's the same thing as your taxes. You're pulling them, but you could see the papers, right? So the papers go all over. And so, like, these are things that I could see. The other ones you can't see, so you think that you're kind of making them up.
Right.
But aren't they being pulled from somewhere?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what are we really making up? Everything's actually there.
Right.
We just didn't make it into reality yet.
With paperwork, I feel like there's more rules that I have to, like, fit into. Because it's like, okay, like, you adding up things, in theory, if you add up the number, it should come the same every time, right? Like,
yeah,
that's
in theory.
right. So, with hair, not always. It's a little bit of a mystery. You do a little different.
Yeah, because everyone's hair is different.
Right, yeah. With across the board, though, if you spend $1 in Florida and you spend $1 in Connecticut, you still spent $1.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
You might not get the same stuff.
You're not going to get the same stuff, but it's still $1. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a little more concrete when it comes to this, and that's why it stresses me out, because if I make a mistake, you can actually trace it back.
But that's actually why it's good. If you make a mistake with hair, it's sometimes hard to trace back because it didn't happen this like that would be more frustrating with hair for me because you can't trace it back. With $1 you could trace it back. It's like, okay, here's how I did this.
Right.
I
Remember
could trace
though,
it back.
I like to pull things out of my ass, so when it's concrete, it doesn't work that well for me.
You just did it again.
See, this is why I'm talking like just a stream of consciousness.
Right,
And
that's why
having
it's important. That's why it's important, because if everyone listens to what they're saying in the way that they say it, and we're getting a lot more of our subconscious thoughts up,
Right.
you just said, in the idea of here, I'm pulling it out of the air and figuring it out, and everyone's different, but you can't, it's harder to trace back because everyone's different. So what
Right.
may have happened with somebody else, if you use that same
It's
exact
not
formula,
going to be the same, yeah.
doesn't mean it's going to do the same thing. So that
Correct.
would be harder to figure out than you could trace back
Right.
$20 and be like, okay, I gave 5 to this person, and I gave 10 to this person, and I gave
Right.
$2.50 here, and $1.75 there, and
Yeah.
what,
Right,
$1.25.
I know that it doesn't make any sense.
But that's why I'm saying. So if you start using the energy of when you're doing hair, the excitement of, just use the energy for a little while. Just practice it.
When we get off podcast, that's what I'm doing.
Right.
Because that's what's on next.
Just practice it, because because there's a fear behind it, and if you start to realize the fear that I'm going to make a mistake, and so what? Then you go back and fix it.
Right.
And so you make a mistake.
Right.
So you give the tax person the wrong numbers, and they go, okay, you made a mistake. Or they go, they don't find the mistake. Or you find the mistake later, and then you have to redo it.
Right.
And so what? I mean, if the worst thing is, okay, so you get audited and they find a mistake, and you're like, okay, so you got to pay more money, or you get money back.
Right.
I mean, those are the...
The worst thing is that I'm inside when it's really nice out.
So take your paperwork outside and add the
I
numbers.
could do that. I was thinking about that, but the problem boils down to I don't think that time is being utilized in the way that serves me best, and it makes me sad to sit at the desk doing the thing when I know that I could be more productive elsewhere.
Yes, but if you could do it quickly because it was something you enjoyed and that you realized was fast, then you could be utilizing your time in all different places.
Right.
Because you take the longest time I've ever seen anyone to do paperwork.
I know.
I mean, you and I did this with tax when we did your taxes. How long did it take me to do the same thing that you did? And I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
I couldn't, it would probably take me way longer to do hair, even though I have a natural gift to do hair, but, cutting hair. But to do color and stuff, it would probably take me longer than it takes you because you know how to do it.
Right.
But I don't think I don't know how to do hair. Like, I'd be able to learn. I think I'd be able to be fast at it. Like, do you see the difference? If I kept trying to do it and it took me longer, and then I started hating it, and that was my job, guess what I would be doing every day?
Hating your job.
Hating my job and saying it takes me long, I don't know how to do this, it doesn't come out right every single time, so then I'd be expecting it to be like that.
Right.
So we know, because I added up your things. I said, give me a sheet, and I'll add them. And it took me, 5 minutes?
Right.
Something that took you 2 hours?
Right.
That you were working on for 2 hours? And I'm like, okay, give me that. I have to get this to the accountant. I'm already late. And I kept giving you the time to do it, and otherwise I would have helped you do it. But that's why I wanted you to see it. It's like, if you start to see it, then you could be like, wait a minute. And then you go, well, that's just her. No, it's just because I don't think it's a big deal. But if I did hair, and I had that experience where it was like, oh, God, I can't get this person's hair blonde. No matter what I do, it keeps screwing up. I can't figure this out. And here's the formula, and I'm using the formula, and it's still not working.
Right.
Oh, shit, if I run into another one of these, it's going to do the same thing, even though everyone's different.
Right.
I need to know what to do, and I don't know what to do. I would be dreading, and I would be really scared, and then I would also be putting in the expectation that it's going to happen every single time.
Right.
And then guess what? I'd be experiencing way more of that. And then it would take me way longer, and then I would be more exhausted from it because I'd be over, stressed from it. So just in that example, like in anything that we do, the examples for anything that we do.
Right.
But so if you take that energy and you put it in, you do it fast, you do it just like you do a job. Like, put in something that you do fast and that you enjoy doing, and I'll bet you that will be so much easier, and you'll start to notice your thoughts on it. Like, I keep saying it's hard, and I keep saying I got to get prepared for it, and I got to, set myself up for it, and I got to do this instead of just going to do it. Because all the thinking that we do, the thing would be done.
Right,
It's like getting to the gym. You know, it's like all the setup that people, like, you don't have that, but people have that. To get to the gym is the hardest part. Once you're there, it's fine.
Right. Yeah.
But the thinking to get there, it takes a damn 2 hours before your ass can get there.
You're right, though, because I don't have the weird money thing or the weird gym thing. But I have everything else that everyone, I think that a lot of people have easy times with, I have really hard times with.
Right. So you have, you know, yours are in different places, but you have them all over the place, right? So that's where it's like, so I'm different, I work differently.
Right.
It's okay, but everyone has their stuff.
Everyone works differently, though.
Right. Everyone has their stuff. But why it then makes you feel like you're strange is because the things that everyone has that are easy, most people that are easy, are really difficult for you.
Right.
And the other side where most people, the things would be harder for them, they're really easy for you.
Right.
And you're like, must just be weird. You know, I just work weird.
Right.
Instead of it being like, oh, hold on, let me use what I do naturally that is hard for everyone else. And why is that hard for them? Oh, because they do the same thing that I do with the paperwork. If you look at what they're doing the same exact thing.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
You know, so if everyone understands, like, look how you do that. Look what you put into that. And I don't care what it is about, whether it's about relationships, whether it's about money, whether it's about jobs, whether it's about, you know, furthering your education, going to school, like whatever it is, learning anything. And yes, is some things harder to learn than others? Yeah. But if we put it in a different way that it's easy, it's easier. What the heck was that? Oh, virus definition update. I don't know what that means, but whatever. But what I'm saying to you is, like, if you put in that it will be easy for you, you have a better chance of it being easier for you. And if you start to say that more, and even when you're experiencing the opposite, that it's really hard, that's the time. Because when things are going good, it's really easy to have faith, belief, and trust.
Right.
And right now, our faith, belief, and trust is being tested to the extremes. What do you really believe? Do we really co-create? Is this the way that the world works? Is law of attraction real? Is it that we have anything? Is there just, you know, a man in the sky called God? Somehow he's a man. And
I think it's a lady.
Well, whoever, you know, whoever's sitting up there and going, well, we're going to do this today and we're going to do that. And it's just, you know, they are in control of all this.
Right.
And we're just these little being puppets that, you know, they kind of do all this shit too, and we just have to fucking take it. You know, like, it's, you know, interesting, like, what we believe, like, truly in our heart and soul, while we're changing, in the middle of all this change and all this horrific stuff that's going on. And then there's lots of good stuff also. So we're having, you know, the extremes all over the place, and we still don't have any middle. So everything's extreme. And it's, remember, we're going into eclipse. In a couple of days, we have the first eclipse season. Now, we had the solar, we had the, on June 21st, we had our,
the moon thing?
No, I can't even think of it. The, summer solstice. I'm like, shit. See, my head's not even working.
Right.
The summer solstice was also a big energy. Then we had the full moon. Now we have a new moon coming up. And they're all intense energies, and all the planets are doing things that they haven't done in hundreds of years to help push us and to help bring things together and eclipse things out of your life that aren't working for you. Things that we don't want out. Things that scare us to take out. But they're trying to get us out of fear, and they're trying to get it to a place where you can be okay. Like, the abandonment issue in relationships is so big. Like, us being abandoned, whether it be male or female, is so big that somebody could walk out and leave us, that then we'd be left and no one else would want us, or that's the person we want. That being so big that we have to actually overcome that and feel good about us regardless.
Right.
And love us enough to be like, okay, like you said, whatever's in my highest and greatest good. And that's important to know, but we don't shut our feelings off. Our heart may hurt for a while.
Right, well, yeah.
It's okay. And it may come back, and we may be able to do it better, but sometimes it has to go away so that we could actually grow and heal and change. So there's a lot of stuff going on that's happening that is terrifying to us. In all of our, oh, I forgot the phone. In all of our lives. And that's actually, you know, testing us to the extremes and hopefully helping us to overcome them, to realize that there's way more that we have control over, and that we are stronger and growing and learning from these things, and that what you really believe in versus what you were taught starts to be the thing that comes up. And using those, like getting out of our fears, like using the things we were just talking about and really using them. All right, we're going to end our, oh my God, our podcast. It's an hour and 18 minutes we're at now.
Wow.
How the hell, see, that time flying.
Mm-hmm. See, it's the time.
The time is a-flying.
Yep.
I might do this in two episodes then. Instead, I'll do a part 1 and a part 2. Is there any last words that you'd like to say as far as like what we're talking about, what you're going to do? Because you saw with are you starting to say with your food something different? What have you noticed?
The food I'm saying, I'm telling it that it will be helpful when I eat it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what's happening with the food stuff.
And what are you noticing?
Well, I'm also still eating. Well, actually, this week I've been eating a bunch of things I'm not supposed to because of the holiday week, and it wasn't too bad.
Right. It doesn't matter. That's why, remember, that's the part you need to take out, that's the thing that's going to bother you.
Right.
You know, we're not talking about an allergic reaction to something.
No,
we're talking about that it's going to bother you.
Yeah, no, I definitely had a bunch of things that that would bother me that weren't too bad. So that's good.
I had somebody come in, and it was really cute. So we were working on this in her relationship, and she kept saying, because the person was driving her nuts, and she kept saying these he doesn't help, he doesn't do anything to help me, he's like this or like this, he never gets me like flowers, or doesn't do this or doesn't do that. And I said, okay, when she was doing her stream of consciousness, because I had her do it just because I'll have you do it just in general, and then I'll have you break it down.
Right.
And then she was doing it, and then I was like, so is that what you're living in your life? And she's like, yes. I go, well, okay, let's change it. And she kept changing. I said, just visualize him doing this, because everyone has both sides. So let's visualize him doing this and how he's helpful in this and this. So she comes for her session, and she looks at me and she goes, I had the weirdest thing happen last night. So-and-so was helping me do stuff, and I was looking at him like he was an alien. Like, did somebody steal him and put somebody else in his place? Looks just like him.
Right.
And I said, are you doing the thing that we talked about? She said, oh, yeah, I did that. I said, okay. So she goes, well, is he going to stay that way? I go, no. He's going to change all over the place. But it's going to be easier for you to actually start to believe that those things can happen because you're watching them start to happen.
Right.
And she went, oh, my God. He was like, where do I put this? How do I help you? She's like, I thought I was like losing my mind for a minute there. And she goes, and I totally forgot we were doing that. She goes, I was just in such shock that he was helping me and doing stuff that he's never done before, that I was like, who are you and what the hell is going on?
Right. That's cool.
So do you see the difference? So now it's easier. So I'm like, okay, do you see the difference? Just like with what you're talking about with your food.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, do you see the difference? It's like the things that would have bothered you awful didn't bother you as much. Because when you put it out there and you start to make friends with it, and you start to say, okay, whatever I'm putting in is helpful to my body.
Right.
Then it starts to be. Everyone got that, hopefully? Okay, so I guess as we talk about like, share, subscribe, share us with other people, because as far as, getting more people to know that we're here, to help you to understand how you work. And we do this for you, so the more people that know and help each other, and the more that we know that we're all in this together, the better. And the same thing with sharing it with other people, because so many people are going through things that they don't understand what's happening. And everything is showing up in your face. And whatever you believe to be real, we're getting more of that, even though it's not necessarily a truth. I'm going to say it's not a truth. Like, a lot of things are not truths.
Right.
And very fear-based. And we're going to have a lot more of that. So as we go through this big change, it's easier if we understand what's happening and we have something to hold on to and start to use to help make it better. So what is our... Oh, I was almost going to say, what do we say at the end of our podcast?
Toodles.
Toodles. So I was going to say it again. I always say it all the time. So we will see you later, but we don't see you. We will hear you later. Nope, we don't hear you. You will hear us later.
Yes.
You will hear us later.
In fact, yes.
In fact, yes. So yet again, toodles, and
Toodles.
we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.